I see the mayor has joined us. I'm not sure if he's connected to audio yet, so we're going to wait just 1 second. Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning. How's everybody? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. So everybody, the mayor is going to talk about a few things before we get to the Q&A section. So, Mr. Mayor, go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My staff and I worked throughout the Memorial Day weekend on various openings that are in the works. Yesterday, I held a virtual meeting with the mayors and the city manager of the coastal communities, and we went over the plan to open the county's beaches. The order is being finalized today, and I want to give folks a few details now so that they can start planning for what's to come under our new normal. As always, our public health experts from the medical schools at UM and FIU, as well as doctors from Jackson and U Health and the Florida Department of Health, have participated in every step of this process. Every recommendation has been made with the safety of our residents in mind. We will meet the target date of June 1st to open our beaches, and people will be able to lounge on the sand as well as swim and walk and jog, but they must follow certain rules to make sure that everybody is safe. So here are some of the rules that our residents need to prepare for. Everyone must practice social distancing of at least 6 feet. If you're all from the same household, you can be together, but people from different households must be 6 feet apart. You can bring an umbrella and chairs to the beach, or you can rent from a concessionaire or use the chairs provided by your hotel, condo, or apartment complex. Those chairs must be cleaned by the concessionaire or the hotel, condo, or apartment complex between every use. If you can't practice social distancing, you must wear a facial covering. You do not need to wear face masks on beach except when at bathrooms or at concession stands. Everyone must have masks handy to put on when circumstances warrant. That means that if you're jogging, you do not wear a mask, but you must have it accessible that you can put it on at a moment's notice if the situation calls for it. When you go to the restroom or to a concession stand, you must maintain 6 feet of separation between people in line. For your safety, you must wear a facial covering when using the restroom, and you must wash your hands for at least 20 seconds before leaving the bathroom. Allowed activities include walking and jogging, swimming, surfing, paddleboarding, kayaking, and sunbathing. As always, no groups greater than 10 people can congregate. We also point out that on June 1st, we will also have hotels expanding their services to non-essential visitors. Also, pools will be open at condos, homeowners associations, and apartments, and this will apply countywide. The hotel capacity limit will be at 50% for common areas at this phase, which is still code yellow, although they are at 100% for rooms. They can only allow 50% capacity in the common areas. We're working on having summer camps open up in June as well. We had a very productive meeting yesterday with our work group, and I should have more information about that soon. I'm hoping that we can open summer camps on a limited basis at least around June 8th. Finally, I hear a lot of people who want to get back to the gym or their yoga, their dance classes. Our wellness working group is finalizing those plans as well to make sure that what is allowed is safe. So with that, I'll take your questions first in English, and then I'll move over to Spanish.
Thank you, Mayor. We are having a little connectivity issue. Just so you know, we have a little bit, you were breaking up just a little bit there. I was able to hear everything you said, so I hope everyone else was too, but it was breaking up a little bit. So just in case if we have any issues hearing some of the reporters' questions. Okay, I'm opening it up to questions. We don't have a very big group here today, and I know we have a lot of the assignment editors on. So just going to open it up and ask whoever wants to ask a question to go ahead and speak up, since we have kind of a small group this morning.
It's Abby over at CBS 4. Mayor Gimenez, can you go over the hotels again? 50% for common areas. I guess that's the pools and stuff like that. And then 100% for the rooms. Is that pretty much it? And they are opening, correct?
Yeah, for non-essential travelers. I mean, they were always open for essential travelers. So now it's non-essential travelers. They can open up on June 1st. The room they can fill up, but the common areas have to be no more than 50%. Obviously, when they're in common areas, you have to wear masks, you have to keep social distancing, etc.
Thank you. Thank you, Patty.
Did you hear me?
Okay, thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Thanks.
Abby, did you hear the response?
I did. I sure
Okay,
did. Thank
she
you.
did.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we do have a little bit of a delay, I think, today. Okay, I know Phil from NBC6 has a question now. Phil?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, thanks for your time and thanks for doing this. I saw there was a Miami-Dade Commission on Ethics and Public Trust report that's out today about the trip to China, that no ethics enforcement action will be issued against any persons arising out of the investigation, but did recommend changing some policies for the future. What's your takeaway from that investigation, and are there going to be any changes in the future, do you think?
We already took some changes. We had meetings with the FBI prior to our trip over there, and they advised us about these burner phones. So we're going to take a different approach to the burner phones. We're going to actually, when we get back, if some future trip is taken to China, the policy is that the phones will be basically put into a safe and locked away for any future reference or any future information that they may require from them. My phone was not a burner phone, so any information that the press requested from me from my China trip was available on my phone. And so that's one thing I got out of it. The second thing that I got out of going to China was that I really want to be very cautious in doing any business with China. We don't actually want to do business with China. And so there were things that came out of that too, which were, letters that I sent to Senators Rubio and Scott, asking them to preclude the use of Chinese rolling stock in the United States. Because again, there's two ways you can get out of that trip. You can come back impressed, or you can come back less than impressed. And I have to say, I came back less than impressed.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor. I see Andy Slater's opened up his video, so I'm assuming you have a question?
I do. Mayor, with the numbers that you've seen, whenever the governor says, okay, Florida's going to move into phase 2, do you anticipate that Miami-Dade will be included when he says, okay, phase 2?
I think that the governor has been very consistent in allowing Miami-Dade and the southeast counties to go at their own pace. And I met with the governor yesterday. He's comfortable with the pace that we're going at. He knows that the problem down here in Dade County is different than the rest of the state. And so the rest of the state will probably be at an accelerated pace. We will go a little bit slower. We'll take our time a little bit more, and the governor is fine with that. I mean, we've been pretty much in lockstep with what we want to do, what he wants to do with the state, and what he's allowing us to do down here in Southeast Florida.
I know you talked about the beaches opening up next Monday. What do you anticipate are going to be the next things to open up after the beaches?
Well, I want to make sure, number one, that when we do open up the beaches, that we have the enforcement personnel there, because the last thing I want to do is have images like came out of, like the Ozarks over the weekend. And so we have to have, order. You can go out and have a good time. You can maintain social distancing, because again, those images are going to be very important to people in the future, whether they travel to Miami-Dade or not. If they think that it's not safe to come here, they won't. And so we do want people to come back to Miami-Dade. We want them to do it in a safe manner. The next thing to open up on June 8th will be summer camps and child care facilities. Even though they haven't been closed, they've had restrictions. And so we want to open up our summer camp activities. Again, not the normal summer camp activities where you can do just about anything. There are things you will be able to do. There are things you won't be able to do, at least in phase 1 of that opening.
Thank you, Mayor. Anyone else with a question? I see CNN, Local 10, Miami Herald. Anyone have a question? Preguntas en español? Okay, Mayor, I have a couple of questions that I've been getting on text from reporters that have not been able to join the call. And one of them is asking, are there any reopening plans or guidelines in the works for private adult schools, certificate and tech schools, and programs like that? I believe it's Radio Caracol asking. So if you could answer that one in Spanish.
That's not something, eso no es algo que nosotros ese tema no hemos estudiado. Tenemos que estudiarlo porque sé que los colegios privados no están guiados por las reglas del sistema escolar público. Así que es algo que tenemos que que ver en qué manera se puede hacer, trabajando con el sistema escolar del condado de Miami-Dade, porque yo creo que todo debe ser consistente. Si eres un niño en el colegio público o privado, no debe tener ningún tipo de diferencia si es seguro para uno o para otro. Así que es algo que tenemos que enfocarnos ahora.
Okay, muchas gracias por esa respuesta. And Mayor, I know we've been getting in the Office of Communications a lot of requests from the media in general for these beach reopening guidelines. So just once again, can you just reiterate when this will all be set in stone so that everybody can start reading what the anticipated rules are going to be as we look at reopening those beaches next week?
You want this in Spanish, right? In Spanish?
You can say it in English. No, I'm just helping you wrap it up.
Well, no, I mean, I ran through the gist of it. Where you can lay on the beach. You can bring your own, beach chair. If you get one from a concessionaire, then they have to, between every use, they have to disinfect the chair or the lounge. You cannot bring tents. You can stay, if you're in a group, if your own household, you can have up to 10 people. You don't have to have social distancing. You don't have to wear a mask if it's your own household. If it's not your own household, then you can have a group of up to 10, but you must maintain at least 6 feet apart. If not, you're going to have to wear a mask on the beach. When you go to a bathroom, you have to wear a mask. When you go to a concession area, you have to maintain social distancing. You can go swimming. You can go surfing, paddle surfing, kite surfing. You can do those kinds of activities. But again, it's all about maintaining social distance, and when you can't, you have to wear a mask. That's the key to the entire, program. And we will have additional enforcement personnel to first educate everybody about how it, you can enjoy the beach and do it in a safe manner. And then obviously, if people do not heed those warnings, then we'll have police personnel close by to more than educate those people that don't want to heed those warnings.
And all these guidelines are going to be in your emergency order, and that's going to be available today, you said?
We hope that by tonight, I'll be able to sign those orders and just letting everybody else know what the guidelines are going to be. Same thing with hotels. Hotels, we want them to open up to non-essential visitors on the 1st. There's a whole list of guidelines for them, but the gist of it is that they can start filling up their hotel rooms 100%, but the common areas are at 50%. And then those areas which are like restaurants, the restaurants will be guided by the same regulations that we have restaurants that are not in hotels. Gyms will not be open there. The pools will be. We're going to be also signing orders, basically eliminating one of our orders which prohibited the public and private pools from being open. We want them again to practice social distancing. Any common furniture needs to be disinfected. They have to be 6 feet apart, et cetera, for the pools. And so it'll be pretty clear what you can and what cannot do in a pool.
Thank you, Mayor, for that. I see that Joshua from the Miami New Times has joined us, and I received a message that he does have a question. Joshua, are you there? You can unmute if you have a question.
I would rather. Hi, hello. Good morning. I would rather just go through the email channels for records requests. I'd rather not ask a question during this meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody else have a question for Mayor Gimenez?
Mr. Mayor, it's Chris at Channel 7. Were there any concerns from the Water Management District? I know we had unprecedented levels of flooding the last couple of days, but in terms of the hurricane season starting next week, are there any initial findings so far? Were there any concerns with drains or with all that? I know there's a ton of water out there still this morning. Were there any concerns about the findings so far from last night and the last couple of days from the Water Management District?
Yeah, actually there are, and we need to. We communicated with them to open up the gates to let more water out. I know we had some canals overflowing. That definitely is a concern. We apparently had like a 5-year rain event that happened the last couple of days, and some of the pumps, especially some building pumps, couldn't keep up with the pressure. So once we have an abundance of water like this, there's a lot of infiltration. In other words, water coming into the pipes, especially the wastewater, not so much the water supply, but the wastewater going back had much more water in it than normal. We normally have about 270 million gallons a day of wastewater coming back to our plants. I know that our water and sewer director told us that there was close to, I think, close to 900, either over 800 million gallons of water going back into the system, which means our pipes were full and pressurized, which causes a problem and could cause some backages. So that we've had some problems with this. We need to talk to the South Florida Water Management District to see what their plans are, how they are draining this excess water away so that when we have the next rain event, it doesn't flood like last night.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. I have another emailed question from Anna Claudia from the Herald. She's on the line, but she says it's very noisy and doesn't want to open up her mic. She's asking, you said the executive order was being finalized. Does that mean it will be released today? And when might we expect that? And I think you answered that for me a couple of minutes ago, that you hope to answer it, to sign that tonight. Are there any rules for the pools when they reopen, is her other question.
Yeah, they're going to have to maintain social distancing. The furniture has to be separated. You can't have a chair or a lounge, right next to each other. They have to be away from each other. Obviously, people that live in the same household can be next to each other, but if you don't live in the same household, you have to separate. And then same thing in the pool. Maintain your distance in the pool. Although the good news about the pool is chlorinated water kills the virus. That's good, but again, if you're breathing on somebody, that's another method of transmission. So you have to be careful. That's why you have to keep, you have to be separated. So there are rules for the pool, and they'll be issued to.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Doug Hanks has joined the call, and he has a question from the Miami Herald. Doug.
Thanks, Patty. Thanks, Mayor. Mayor, you have any comment on this ethics report regarding the Asia trip? And Ralph Garcia Toledo's role apparently in arranging the Hong Kong leg for your administration?
Look, the whole thing with Genting was that they were interested in investing in Miami-Dade County, and so we went there to listen to what they wanted to do, and so they issued an unsolicited proposal. It's being evaluated now, and that's really all I have to comment on that. The Ethics Commission found nothing else, with that. They did find that the use of the burner phones, actually burning the burner phones, was a problem. So we changed our policy, in which we did. And I never had a burner phone. So any information that you requested from my phone was available. And that's it. My comment was it really didn't require 2 years of investigation to come up with the conclusions that they came up with. And so, we made the changes that were recommended way before they recommended them. So, that's it as far as I'm concerned about China. The only thing I did get out of China, as I said before, was that I really came out of there not wanting to really do business with the Chinese government. We felt that, I felt that I was being surveilled the whole time. I didn't like their business practices. And so what I came out of China was, I came in thinking, hey, maybe they can invest in Miami-Dade, et cetera. I came back with a completely different opinion of how we should deal with China in the future here in Miami-Dade.
Didn't you recommend the unsolicited proposal when it had Chinese trains, though, after that trip?
I'm sorry?
Didn't you recommend the unsolicited proposal when it had Chinese trains in it after that trip?
I said that we should look at the proposal. I think that they needed to be evaluated. There was a significant amount of money by a private company to establish Baylink. And so, but remember what that does. It then triggers a solicited proposal and triggers competition. And I think competition is good. So, most people don't understand the unsolicited proposal process, Doug, and you should know better than most that the unsolicited proposal process, all it does is launch a solicited proposal, a open competitive process, and that's what we did. And so we said, we should move forward with soliciting more proposals to see if we can get other people to invest in Miami-Dade. But also, Doug, remember, I also wrote a letter to the RFP that actually came out of that prohibited Chinese rolling stock from participating in whatever proposal came out of that RFP. So I hope that you would put that in your comments too.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Any other questions?
Yeah, Mayor, I just have one more football related. yesterday, the Dolphins owner, Stephen Ross, was on television saying the only thing he's really not sure about is if fans will be allowed in the stands at Hard Rock Stadium. Have you had any more discussions recently with the Dolphins, and how much of a decision will you have in that process?
Well, we right now prohibit large gatherings, of people, so crowds, and so we have not lifted that. And I believe that, yeah, I'll probably have something to say about it. We've got to look at the governor's orders if we're somehow precluded. If we're not, then we will have something to say about it. I think that with a limited number of players and players that you can keep an eye on, and if you have the resources to do testing and testing on a very frequent basis, you could probably have the football games and keep it safe. Fans is another issue, and that's something that I'm willing to discuss with the Dolphins and see, and any other professional group or college group to see what can be done about it. But at this point, I think it's best that we have games with no fans and then work our way towards some kind of fan participation in the future.
Right, but being that this would be September with the NFL, I mean, it's still a long ways away. Do you anticipate that fans will be allowed at that time?
It all depends on what's going on with the virus. It all depends on the infection level. It all depends on their plans. And so, again, I don't have a crystal ball. I can just know what's happening right now. There's no antiviral. There's no vaccine that's available, and we know that it's in large crowds. The virus has a tendency to take off because it's pretty contagious. And so at this point, with everything we know right now, it's going to be very difficult. But like you said, it's September. I mean, that's a long way off. So we'll see what happens then.
Thank you, Mayor. Anybody else have any other questions this morning? Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. I do believe, Mayor, that we're planning on having a town hall type meeting on Friday where we'll take questions from the public and the media as well on the opening up of the beaches and the expansion of the hotel accommodations and all that next week, so everybody kind of can ask their questions and know what's going on. So we will see you and everybody else then. Thank you.
Well, one other thing too is that I wish the astronauts luck this afternoon as America goes back to space. Is something I'm really excited about. So with that,
That's
yes,
awesome.
Thank you very much, everybody. All right, have a good one.
Hey, Patty, what time is that town hall?
We'll send out a media advisory.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. You're always a pleasure.
Have a good day, everybody.